think about all the people who came before us, who put their lives on the line so you could vote and live in freedom. And our freedom is under attack. Our freedom is being threatened right now. And if we don't have a massive victory, we're not going to get our schools back. We're not going to get our Justice Department back. We're not going to secure our borders. And there's a few other things I want to talk about after we get into a few more of these segments. And that is Joe Biden and what he will do if they lose the election. We better have our eyes peeled and ready to raise hell about this. And I'll get to that in a minute. Here is ABC News by the numbers. Go.
By the numbers. 7 days to go. The battle for the Senate is officially in a dead heat. At least it was just a little while ago, 50-50. Now it seems like it's been a shift based on the numbers at 5:30. Give us a sense of where we are.
The slightest shift. So according to our Senate forecast, Republicans have a 51% chance.
Now, 2 weeks ago, this same genius was talking about Republicans having 59, 71% chance. So he says it's the slightest advantage, 51%, so he's hedging his bets. I just think it's interesting to hear what he has to say. Do not let it influence you. Fight like we're behind, like we're way behind, and that it's up to you to win. Go.
Of taking control of the Senate. In reality, is that all that different from 50-50? No. But it is notable because it is the first time since July that Republicans actually have an advantage in our forecast in the Senate, even if it's just by a hair. And what can we chalk that up to? I think really it's been tightening in polls in Nevada, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. In Nevada, we saw in September, the Democrat there, Catherine Cortez Masto, had a 4-point lead. In Georgia, Raphael Warnock in September had a 3-point lead, the Democrat there. And in Pennsylvania, we saw that John Fetterman had a 10-point lead in September. Now it's just a 1-point lead. So these races are getting super, super, super close. And I should say, the tighter these races get, the more uncertain the outcome is. So our forecast today shows that there's a good chance that the numbers could fall anywhere between Republicans having a 54-seat advantage in the Senate and Democrats having a 53-seat advantage in the Senate. So really, it's...
So stop there. This is up to you. Now, I know I'm not speaking to 70 million people, but we're talking to a lot of people here, and on my radio show, and on my Fox show. So if we multiply that by 10 because of your activism, then we can talk about multi-millions of people doing the right thing. This is what I mean. We cannot have a situation where the Democrats win 3 or 4 Senate seats because we didn't get out and vote, or that they win 10 more House seats than we could have won, because we didn't get out and vote and get people we know out to vote. I can't emphasize this more urgently. There are just too many people with cameras and microphones on our side, quote unquote, who are out there talking about a red wave and a tsunami. Don't talk that way. I don't know why people do it. I guess they want to pat themselves on the back, say they made great predictions. It's not about them. It's not about predictions. It's about getting out and doing what we need to do. We have a few more days, we have one more weekend, and that is it. And the enemy, the Democrats and the radical leftists, the American Marxists, they are out there right now as I'm speaking. They live this stuff, they sleep this stuff. This is all they do. Go.
Anyone's race at this point.
When we talk about political extremism and polarization, according to a new poll that you all have out with Ipsos, it sounds like that's top of mind and a big concern for many voters, especially when your data also indicates that a number of these election deniers, it seems, are likely to win their races.
It's amazing the way people in the media speak. Election deniers, what they're trying to say is MAGA supporters or anybody else who questions even aspects of the last election. Notice election deniers are not the people from 2000 who challenged Bush's victory, or 2004 who challenged Bush's re-election, or 2016 who challenged Trump's election and claimed that the Russians elected him. They don't call Hillary Clinton an election denier, or McAuliffe, or Al Gore, or Carter, or Bill Clinton, or Barack Obama, or 98% of the media, and so forth and so on, who are election deniers all the time. But now we have election deniers who are poised to win, meaning conservatives. Really? Go ahead.
Absolutely. We have been tracking which Republican nominees deny the legitimacy of the 2020 election since all the way back to the primaries.
Why? Why are you tracking that? Why are you tracking that? Did they do it in 2000 on the Democrats? Did they do it in 2004 on the Democrats? Did they do it in 2016 on the Democrats? So why are they doing it now? It's called smear. That's why. Go ahead.
And the numbers that we found is that 35% of Republican nominees outright deny the legitimacy of the 2020 election. Another approximately 10% have cast doubts. So that's almost 50% of Republican nominees who don't acknowledge the legitimacy of the 2020 election. And I should say the 2020 election was not particularly close, and there's absolutely no evidence of fraud that would have come anywhere close to overturning the election.
Let's stop there a second. I mentioned this on radio. It's important I mention it here. A friend of mine, a tremendously brilliant lawyer, he used to work at the Department of Justice, informed me the other day that when Eric Holder was Attorney General under Obama, he moved the oversight of election integrity from the criminal division to the civil rights division to make it a civil rights issue. Now, the problem with moving it from the criminal division, specifically the public integrity section of the criminal division, is they're the ones that have experience prosecuting election cases, whether it's election fraud or foreign money in elections and so forth and so on. So Holder moved it to the civil rights division. The individual at the Department of Justice, then working under Barr, under Trump ultimately, but the president wouldn't know this person, Rachel Brand, she institutionalized this practice rather than returning it to the criminal division. Please listen, this is very, very important. So do you know how many cases of outright election fraud or foreign monies in election cases have been brought by the Civil Rights Division? 0. They don't know how to bring these cases. And so the FBI has done very little to pursue them. Now, when Bill Barr was trying to determine, at the request of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, how many fraud cases there were, particularly fraud cases that might affect the election, what did he do? He had all the U.S. attorneys' offices contacted, and they said, we don't have any cases. And so then he reports to Trump and to the country, we have no evidence of fraud, none. None that would affect the outcome of the election. Because he contacted the wrong people. It's the Civil Rights Division that would be handling those cases, not the criminal division, not the U.S. attorneys individually. And that's what he said under oath multiple times to the January 6th committee. He has said it on TV, and I trust my friend, there's no reason not to. This is inside baseball, but it's inside baseball that makes a difference, isn't it? It was a different division within the Department of Justice. And they haven't charged anybody ever with fraud or accepting foreign monies in their campaigns. Go.
But here's the reality. At least 120 of those Republicans that we're tracking having 95% chance or better of winning their election. So we're going to see plenty of people who deny the legitimacy of the 2020 election win their seats in the House. But maybe more importantly, we see that there are gubernatorial and Secretary of State candidates in competitive races in Nevada and Arizona who are also election deniers. And it's at the state level where they have a lot more control over elections. So those are also really important races to watch when we're talking about election denialism.
So now we have words for it, election denialism, but it's never occurred before. It's only now, election denialism. This is so sick. Do you remember the lead up to the last election when the Democrats kept talking about the mailboxes? Remember that, Mr. Producer? We even did a whole loop on that, which was that Trump is and his postmaster general, who is supposedly a hack, they're removing mailboxes for mail-in votes from Democrat areas, and The post office won't be set up to properly process all the mail-in votes from early voting that are going to come. They had all kinds of conspiracy theories running around. They sent their lawyers 300 lawsuits they brought in legal cases between 2016 and 2020 to change the election rules and processes in various states, particularly the swing states, and we've talked about that before. But election deniers, yeah, right. Just go out and vote. Prove these people to be as stupid as they are. And they are stupid. They're worse than stupid. They're hacks.
Want to see more? Sign up for Levin TV.